Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to Paradise, Palawan Paradise. I'm in El Nido with my buddy Nick. Decided to come out here right before I head back to Canada to see my family. And I'm glad I booked it. It was supposed to rain the whole time. And we're getting a little sunshine. So I like to think that I bring the sunshine wherever I go. Anyways, guys, I want to talk to you about cities in this video. I'm going to make other videos while I'm here, talking about things related to getting away and traveling and nature and all the stuff that you get to enjoy here. But in this video, because I was just in Manila for a few days, and before that I was in Cebu City again, and I've been there a lot, I want to compare the two cities a little bit for you guys, because this last trip to Manila really opened my mind up a little bit about Manila and about some of the things that I think make Manila a better fit, without a doubt, for some people. And also because my buddy Nick is out here to meet a girl that he met online in Manila, and he's been chatting with her for several months, for like 10 months or something like that, and he's finally able to come out here, and he's going to spend a week with her after we do this trip. I'm going to tell you something, he actually is onto something as far as finding the kind of girl that works for him. He was very much strategic in how he was searching, and girls in Manila were the only girls he was looking for, and I'll get to that. I'll explain why. But let me back up a little bit. So I've spent most of my time in Cebu City. I feel like I know it pretty well. I've always made that my home base to come back to when I need city time. If I want to stay in a condo with amenities, or if I wanted access to city type stuff. And it's also a good gateway too. It's got the ferry, it's got the airport right there. And so you can go anywhere you want to from Cebu. And it just worked for me. Manila was always just too big. I always felt it was just too big and too much, but I never really gave it a chance either. So what I noticed this time around, staying right on the edge of BGC, right where that Venice Grand Canal Mall is, it's basically kind of right there with BGC. And I stayed in BGC before, I made a video on it, and it's super, super nice. But it's nice on a different level, in my opinion, than what's nice in Cebu. It's nicer in just the way that I feel. It's nicer in the way that they've developed everything. I feel like they've just taken it to the next level. It's sort of like, and it's not just BGC, by the way. There's Makati, like the Greenbelt area. There's another area I went to when I was there. I'm gonna put it right here on the screen. And it's another beautiful area with this beautiful mall, and it's high end. So if you appreciate nice stuff and you appreciate modern, and if you want those comforts, and that's important to you, coming to a developing country, you know, you can get away from that. Some people don't want that. They want the opposite. So this is not for you. But if you like the city and you like amenities and you want to feel like my friend Nick, he'll admit it. Like when he sees the parts of the Philippines, which is the majority of the Philippines, that's so different than back home, you know, it feels messy and it feels chaotic, and there's exposed wires and there's garbage perhaps, or there's just stuff everywhere. It's not organized, tidy. It feels messy. It feels a bit, yeah, it's not what you're used to. If you're used to going to Hawaii, if you're used to going to an all-inclusive in Mexico, or if you're traveling in Europe or around the US, Canada, whatever, Australia, New Zealand, places that I've been to, you know, it's different here. There's not the attention to detail in a lot of the Philippines, and what they consider a done job, we would consider half finished or something, right? But if you go to these areas in Manila, like BGC, like Makati or parts of Makati, you're not gonna feel that. You're gonna walk for hours in different directions and feel, wow, this is super nice, this is super modern. This holds up against other amazing cities around the world, like big time. And in some cases, like better, like BGC is quite nice, quite safe. And to compare it to Cebu, it has some of that, but it's so much less. It's smaller areas. You know, IT Park is not massive. Cebu Business Park is kind of smaller because it's really just Ayala Mall, and the rest are just offices mainly. And so outside of that, Mactan Newtown, and there's some other new developments, like just random things that they're building. But outside of that, and you literally can walk through, you know, in and out of Ayala Mall, and you're back into what feels more like a developing country. To me, that's a lot of the charm of the Philippines, but there's times where, yeah, you just want some of those nice comforts, right? In Manila, you can get lost in the niceness for days, you know, weeks, months, whatever. You're not going to get maybe bored of it quick because there's so much more. There's so much more in Manila. And the nice is nicer, I feel. I feel like the construction, the attention to detail, I think they've just taken it to that next level where they really were thinking, okay, we want to be one of the best cities, you know, in the world. And I don't want to knock Cebu. I love Cebu, but sometimes it feels some of the stuff they've done, maybe it's a little rushed. Maybe it's a little, the attention to detail is not there. A year later, the tiles are popping up and stuff like that. So I don't know. Please comment if you disagree. I'm just trying to make an observation to compare the two. I love Cebu. I love all the out of the nice area charm of the Philippines. You know, some of these things that my buddy Nick's not used to, I don't really think about as much anymore. So anyways, but Manila is going to be a better fit for you guys if you really want the city. If you like and appreciate the city and the nice city. And you have all the old parts of Manila too, don't get me wrong. You have the developing country parts, and you have, like, I stayed in Pembo, Makati. I loved it. It's like the wet and dry markets and the busy, you know, the crowds of people, and it's older. But to me, there's a lot of charm in a neighborhood like that, right? Okay, that's the first thing I wanted to talk about. The other thing that I really noticed being in Manila, and then with talking to Nick about his, you know, this girl that he's going to meet, is I think Manila, it can actually be a fantastic place to meet somebody. Fantastic. So obviously it's a huge dating pool. It's a massive city, but a lot of the girls that you'll meet there are from the province. I've met some just like working at restaurants or whatever, talking to people, or even taxi drivers, like whatever. People in Manila are from all over the Philippines, you know, Mindanao, Leyte, whatever, and they come there for work opportunities. So right off the bat, you can think, well, a lot of these people have that foundation, that province Filipina, you know, traditional backbone and traditional, like, family values, and the way that they think and the way that they might think about a relationship and all that stuff. So you get that, and then you get the balance of someone that's been exposed to more things. You know, a lot of them have degrees and now they're working in the city. So educated, working experience, showing a level of responsibility and commitment to what they're doing. And so it ticks a lot of boxes for a lot of people. Like, if those are important things to you, because what comes of that is more relatability for a lot of guys, you know, maybe better English, better conversation. This comes up a lot, like for me and other people I meet, like how it can be hard to connect with some province girls because of the language, because of the lack of exposure to different things. So again, to each their own, right? Some people might want that. And of course, over time, these people can change. But if you want to connect with someone right away and know what they're about, a place like Manila, there are so many options like that. They could even be working domestic jobs. They could be there as a nanny. They could be there as a cleaner or whatever, which again, for a lot of people, that's fine. It's not like they're looking for a girl that is rich to take care of them. A lot of guys just want a girl that's responsible, that's not just sitting around, you know, in the province, not doing much and waiting for a foreigner to rescue them. And not all Filipinos are doing that, but there are a number of them that just aren't doing much with their life. And in Manila, most girls that you're going to meet are there because of work and something that they're doing with their life, which is a great trait. A lot of guys will relate to this, I know it. So I want to talk about Nick right now and what he did. And he's about to meet a girl that I just know through, like, him describing her and stuff. She's 30 years old. She does not have much relationship experience at all, which is rare, really rare. You're never going to find that in the West, right? But she's been focused on school and then career, and then not wanting to jump into the wrong relationship. And it took her a lot longer to get to a point where she's really thinking about it. So there are a lot of girls like that in like 25 to 30 that don't have much relationship experience. And maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that's, you know, they're not jaded from past relationships, but she brings a lot of like the traditional value type stuff. Like, she wants Nick to lead, and she's mentioned it to him. And he's like not used to that because of what it's like in the West. But she's mentioned how she wants to be the type of partner that takes care of him, wants him to lead, and her to lead in her way, and him to lead with certain things and all that. And it's he's like, it's so refreshing. It's so refreshing, the experience that he's having over these last 10 months getting to know her, and just how thoughtful she is, and how with her not having a lot of experience and getting comfortable with him, getting to know him over time, like he feels like she's really ready to commit and be loyal and devoted and those kind of things, which that's like a dream come true for a lot of guys, to find a girl like that. Money is not an issue for her. So she is like a leader of a team in some company. So she's like a supervisor, doing quite well. She's independent. She lives with her family because that's normal here, but she said she can afford her own place. You know, he showed me some photos and videos, and she's like driving in a decent car. So she's got money, and that was a big thing for Nick. He didn't want someone that he had to worry about, you know, wanting him only for the money. And that's a benefit of meeting someone that's in the city, that is working. And even girls that work full-time and are not making a lot of money, they tend to have a little bit of pride in being able to look after themselves. And I've noticed that with girls that I've met. So, you know, this is another real benefit of meeting someone in the city. So this girl seems like a gem. He's gonna meet her soon, and maybe I'll do a follow-up, and I told him I want to interview him too and see what he can say about this. But, you know, this is huge. Educated, traditional, not needing money at all. Like, it's not even a conversation about like looking after her and her family. So there are girls that are doing very well, and their family has money, and they don't need money at all, yet they want to be with a foreigner. And she's described to him that she had a bad experience with a Filipino before, and she's seen other bad experiences with other girls. And there's also an element that she said, it's sort of like this fantasy thing for some Filipinas, this idea of marrying a foreigner. Some say even like for the kids, like they want the genes, they have this thing. It's like, it's a big thing here in the Philippines. It's been that way for a while. So it's not always about the money. Sometimes it's just about this really romanticized fantasy, cool aspect of being with someone from another country. That is a big thing here for Filipinas. So there you go. It doesn't have to be about the money. In their case, the age gap isn't huge. He's 43 and she's 30, actually like 32. So closer in age. These are things to think about too, as girls get a bit older, more mature. And the way that he's describing her, it's very different than a girl that's in her early 20s, in maybe even mid 20s. You know, naturally that's gonna improve over the years. I think the relatability, the maturity and stuff like that. Last thing I want to talk about though, this would be potentially a downside to Manila. What I noticed is, because it's a big congested city, you know, if you're matching with the girl online, let's just say you come in and you hop on a dating app or something, you know, it's not easy to get from point A to point B sometimes. So you might chat with someone, and on the map they're actually quite close, and they're like, oh my God, that is so far, I can never make it to where you are. You almost have to date within this little tiny area within Manila, because it's just this ordeal sometimes to get across the city. You know, what looks like nothing could take hours sometimes. If you needed to go like all the way across the city, depending on the time of day, it can really be a bit of a thing. It really can. And so if you're staying in BGC, you know, BGC, Makati, and some other areas, that becomes your dating pool. And whether or not that's good enough or not is just something to think about. So unless you're meeting online like he is, and he's just going to meet her and her alone, you know, he flies in, and then in this case, when we come back, he's just going to take a taxi to the area that she is in Manila. They're going to stay there, and then they're just going to bounce around together. But if you're boots on the ground, moving to the Philippines, you're going to live here, you got to consider that. Like, that's the downside of Manila. By the way, it's not to say that these things cannot happen in Cebu City. I just noticed that Manila is by far and away the place where people come from all over the country to do these kind of things, to get from high-end jobs to low-end jobs. Manila is the place. It's just, there's more of it. It's a bigger dating pool, and you're gonna have access to the type of girl that Nick was attracted to, which is someone that is more in a career, self-sufficient, fully financially. Nick's well off, so it's not like he needs that. He wanted to feel like, without any doubts, that the money was not going to be an issue. And he found someone that seems to be like this really amazing balance of both sides. The tradition, you know, the girl that's not like the typical Western girl, but also self-sufficient financially. So we'll see how that goes. Anyways, guys, that's just a little ramble on thought that's been popping up in my head, and I wanted to share it with you guys. I'm gonna make videos soon about where I am right now and some thoughts about getting off the beaten path compared to being in the tourist area. Like El Nido town proper, it's backpacker central, it's tourists everywhere, and it's a different vibe. It's a different vibe. It's more expensive. The level of friendliness changes. I don't want to say they're not friendly, but there were some examples that Nick and I had with not so friendly Filipinos. Most are still fine, don't get me wrong. But as we got away, and now we're like way out of town, it just changes completely. It's right back to that friendly vibe, off the beaten path vibe. So I'm gonna get into that in the next video. Hope you enjoyed this one, guys. You got a little bit of insight of my thoughts of cities and the differences and why Manila. For me, I'm actually thinking when I come back and I wanna do a city hub, I might spend some time in Manila and really give it some time and see if that would be a better option for me as a city go-to home base. But I'm only speaking on a little bit of experience. Leave your comments below if you have any thoughts to add to this. If you agree, disagree, whatever. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Bye.